So your wife said no to night vision. Don't worry, I've got your solution. Get your buddy to take you home from work. Tell her that your transmission has went out and blew up. Your buddy's gonna drive you for 2 or 3 days back and forth. Find someone who's good with a computer. Get them to make up an invoice for a local body shop for the cost of the night vision. Order your night vision, get it sent to your house, tell your wife you won it in a giveaway. Thank me later. So recently, a lot of my subscribers have gotten into night vision because we ran a deal with US Night Vision for PVS 14 ballistic helmet setup Gen 2 Plus. And a lot of people got into it. I've got a lot of questions, people asking me the very basics. And this is going to be like a night vision for dummies, not because I think you're a dummy, but because I'm a dummy and it's the only way I know how to explain things. So I've got a few models here. I'm just going to talk through the absolute basics of everything that I think someone should know getting into night vision and what you can expect, and kind of maybe even help you set up your rifle, help you set up your kit and everything like that. I've ran all kinds of night vision from PVS 7s to PVS 14s to duals, and a lot of it's going to be, dependent upon your budget. You're not in the military, so you're not getting it for free. So you have to determine kind of what works within the realms of your budget. A PVS 14 is a great piece of equipment. It works, you can see in the dark, you can shoot accurately and all that, and everything boils down to training, how you train with something. You can train with PVS 7s and be very accurate. The military was running that years ago, and when I first started in the military, we ran those as well. So right here I've got two models. I've got the RNVGs, which is rugged night vision. It is a billet metal body, and it is fixed, so they don't articulate. And I'm going to show the difference between why you may want one versus the other. Again, a PVS 14 will articulate. I've shown PVS 14s a lot, and I've got videos on that if you want to go check that out. And then this is a BNVD 1431 articulating. And so it's a polymer body. And surprisingly, they're both the same weight. Now, this one uses CR123s. This one uses AA. So that may determine a lot too of what, what batteries they consume. These are both Gen 3 white phosphor. Again, US Night Vision has the Black Scout Civil Unrest kit. With Gen 2 Plus, it is very hard to distinguish the Gen 3 from Gen 2 Plus, just so you know. I would definitely recommend white phosphor if your budget can handle it, because the green kind of gives a little bit more eye fatigue over time. But if you look at on a helmet like the rugged night vision, the benefit of the rugged night vision, like its name, RNVG, it's rugged, so it's going to be much more durable. But you look here how it's set up, you have a unicorn horn here. So constantly you're going to have that front weight ahead of your head, and getting in and out of vehicles and things that may snag and such. When you're running them obviously down, it's going to be the same as you would with the articulating night vision. With articulating, the benefit is that you can flatten these things out, flatten them back. So it doesn't have as front load of a profile. You can then also, whenever you're using them, you can kind of keep them floated above your eyes. So you can essentially use the helmet with them down in this configuration. And then you can also use one eye or dual whenever necessary. Let's say you want to see something, you need to go to white light real quick and read a map or something, or not white light, but another light source to read a map. You can pop one up and do that. And the reason I mention reading maps is because a lot of people don't understand is that whenever you're running night vision, they have a misconception. Night vision has a depth of field. So if you hold your hand up right here to your face and stare at your hand, everything beyond is blurry. So you're going to adjust these just like a DSLR camera for your depth of field. So if I'm adjusted downrange, everything right here is going to be blurry to me. If I adjust to where I can see here, everything's downrange is going to be blurry. This also goes into training, why it's important to train, because reloading magazines under night vision, you're not going to be able to really see what you're doing. This also goes into shooting, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But a lot of people have that misconception that you put on night vision and everything is going to be clear to me. But the fact of the matter is, it's got a depth of field. So wherever you adjust is where you're going to essentially see. Everything outside, that's going to be blurry. Like if you need to check a map real quick, you may need to pull it up real quick or adjust one, or if you got a PVS 14, adjust real quick. It's going to be difficult, but you need to practice all those things essentially too when you're training, adjusting, handling things, maybe fixing your kit, reading things, and then quickly adjusting downrange. That's something that a lot of people don't understand. They don't that have never used night vision. They assume that they're going to be able to just see like they do now. But the fact of the matter is your eyes adjust in the same manner. That's why DSLR cameras are so popular and are so appealing to the visual effect of a human. You say, oh, that picture looks great, and they realize there's bokeh, which is distortion in the background, and the subject matter is in high focus. It's because our eyes see in that same way. Essentially, like I just told you to hold your hand up and stare at your eye and everything behind is blurry, your eyes operate in the same mechanism. So night vision does that as well. Another thing people I'll see all the time, they'll buy a piece of night vision, they won't have a helmet. You need a helmet because the helmet is not only for protection from bumps, from projectiles, depending on the helmet you choose, it also is how you carry your night vision, right? Again, like I told you, night vision has some weight to it, like a pound and 6 ounces. I think these are running. Both of these actually are the same weight. So you have this weight on the front of your helmet. You're going to need to get a counterweight. Now, a lot of people will do is they'll put batteries back here. They'll put maybe a external battery pack, something to offset that weight. This is a Team Wendy carbon helmet, and I got the carbon. It's my favorite helmet. I got a few helmets, but this is my favorite because, one, I live in a very hot environment. It's always hot. I spent many years in the Marines wearing a ballistic helmet, and I hate wearing them. I don't plan on getting shot in the head either, but you may want a ballistic helmet. Obviously, depending on what type of situation you may see yourself in. But this Team Wendy carbon, which is the same price as a ballistic helmet, but it's just very lightweight. So you have to get some type of, if you're going to get a bump helmet, you're going to definitely need a weight. And even with a ballistic, I would wear a weight in the back, because if you wear it over a period of time, it's going to kill your neck. The other benefit of a helmet, you can add other things. You can add like this IR patch here. You can add comms or hearing protection. And this comm setup, you can see my cables run through. This can hook onto my radio and gives you just a way to communicate with folks as well. Again, you're going to need to know that you're going to have a lot of weight on the front of your face. And obviously when it's down, it's a little bit better. But that hearing protection will also help kind of keep that helmet situated as well, because it's going to be locking against your ears. And obviously there's different types of helmets, different types. OpsCore actually makes a bump helmet as well. I've got one of those too, and they the rail system is a little bit more universal than the Team Wendy. You have to buy actual Team Wendy components to mount this stuff on. You can also put IR strobes like this right here. That way your friendlies can see you. However, if other people have night vision, they're going to be able to see you just as well. But it has IR as well as green strobe mode, and it's Velcro, and you can Velcro a lot of stuff on here. You may want to put like a Surefire vampire light, which is a IR illuminator to help give you more IR illumination under nods, because depending how the ambient lighting is around you, whether that's street lights or that's moonlight, you're going to see a lot better where there's a little bit of ambient light versus none. Like if you're in a pitch black cave, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to see unless you have an IR illuminator. Some of these have built-in IR illuminators on, or I think they all do, have some sort of IR illuminator, and you can hit those and twist them, especially on a PVS 14, you can hit them, and even your buddies can see you. Like if you don't have a strobe, you can hit that, and they'll be able to see, because it'll be bouncing off you to them. So it's something that you'll be able to see, but it's not going to be as great as something like an external Surefire Vampire, and I have one of those as well. You may want to add a white light, a small white light as well, or red light, so that way if you need to read a map, you may want to put a little green light, whatever. Something you can do admin things very close up that's not going to give off a big visual signature. You always want to look at noise and light discipline at all times whenever you're using flashlights or IR lights and things like that. So that's some considerations here. Obviously, it's going to be dependent on your budget heavily, and then just kind of like what capabilities you want beyond that. So now going to shooting, obviously a huge benefit of just having night vision over a lot of people saying, oh, I'll just get a thermal for my rifle. You're not going to be walking around looking through your thermal to walk. I can walk like a normal pace. I can run with night vision on. I can move, shoot, move, and communicate. That's what's important. A lot of people say, well, I have a thermal optic, and we're going to get into thermals in a moment. So you have passive and active using an optic or using an IR laser. I like the EXPS3 by EOTech is probably, in my opinion, the best for night vision. You can use aim point micros and such, and whatever ones have a night vision setting on them. Now, night vision setting, what it does is it lowers that reticle down to barely, not even visible with the naked eye, and it's just enough. Now, the smaller, I feel like, in my opinion, the optic gets, the window, the more washout you may have. I like the large window of an EOTech. I like that just for my everyday shooting as well, daytime shooting. It's basically because how my eyes are built. The other thing is I can add a magnifier and I can remove it when I'm night shooting. And that way, whenever I'm passive shooting, I can look through this. Now, if you're using an aim point micro or maybe even an EOTech, depending on you, you may have to get a riser because you're going to need to bring that optic up. I personally don't need one, and I think it works well. The only problem with the EOTech is they eat batteries like a damn Cookie Monster. Okay, I mean, they eat batteries. Whereas the aim point micro, you can leave that thing on forever. So it just kind of depends on what you want. Now, a lot of people say, well, can I just use my regular optic? Well, probably it's going to be washed out by the night vision because the night vision is going to intensify any light source. So it's going to be very blurry. It's going to wash out the whole target. You're not going to see anything. Personally, I don't really like passive shooting or shooting through an optic. I prefer a laser. The benefit of the optic is no one else can see it though. When you have a laser, you're giving off that visual signal to anyone else that has night vision where the laser is going and where it's coming from. So a lot of people ask about, can I use night vision with iron sights? The problem with iron sights, just like I told you, with like reading a map or doing anything up close, is that the depth of field is going to be blurred there. You're not going to really be able to tell what you're looking at. You're not going to even be able to make out really the sights, and obviously that's very important. Now, this is a PEC 15 ATPIL, and it has an IR illuminator and a IR laser. So under nods, I can employ this with a laser on target, move a lot quicker. The thing is, when you're using this, obviously you don't want to be walking around with the laser on like a flashlight. So if anyone else has nods, they're going to be able to see that very well. Like I said, they're going to see where it's pointing from and to. The other benefit of this is that it has a red laser. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a red laser as well. And obviously I wouldn't use a red laser unless my main optic went down, but it's a good backup. The main benefit of the red laser is that the IR laser and the red laser are slaved. So whenever I sight because you have to sight it in just like you do an optic, you sight this in, you can use the red laser to sight it in, and essentially the optic's ready to go whenever you're going to shoot with night vision. Pistols. How do I shoot with a pistol? RMRs. A lot of people run their RMRs like on top of the LPVOs, which is also great if you're running night vision because you can run that RMR night vision mode, and it's like essentially on a riser because it's sitting on top of that magnified optic. So then when you pull up, it's right in your view of the nods. In RMR, essentially, because like I said before, the depth of field, getting that thing out there with your hands far enough for close quarters shooting, it works very well. So you can use that RMR with your hands extended, and you can shoot very well with that optic under nods. You know, it's not going to wash out. You keep it in the lowest setting. That way it doesn't wash out your target. In a close quarters proximity, it's not that big of a problem. So the other uses for night vision outside of just shooting is that I can move quickly because I can see. A lot of people will buy night vision from Temu or Wish, And the problem with that is that's digital night vision. This is analog, so this is real time. When I wave my hand, that's what the speed is going. That delay in the digital night vision could cost you your life, those few seconds. So it's not up to par with analog night vision. A lot of people ask that question, can I get this, can I get that? The same with thermals. Thermals are also on a delay because it's essentially a camera that you're looking through. A lot of people will mount a night vision PVS 14 with a thermal, like a FLIR. The problem with that is the FLIR has a delay. A lot of people think, well, if I'm looking in this one and this one at the same time, it'll overlay. Brains don't work that way. Some people run it. I have a buddy who runs it that way, but he'll run the PVS 14 constantly, and then whenever he needs to see something, he flips down the FLIR to see a thermal signature. The other benefit is being able to mark things. So this is a standard chem light. This is an IR chem light. So I can break this and place this somewhere to mark a location. I cleared a room or something like that. I can, if we've got a rally point, I can put this out. We're doing escape and evasion, whatever, civil unrest. I can put this somewhere to mark my buddies, or mark somewhere I've already checked or been, or maybe I cache some supplies somewhere. But understand this is on a time limit. The other thing I said is like having strobes, our strobes, which is great. And I also have like a mini Firefly, like what we use in the military. And essentially it's a small disposable strobe that you bolt onto you just snap onto a 9-volt battery, and you can place it anywhere, and it's giving that strobe continuously till the battery dies, and it has quite a long lifespan. So that's a huge benefit for marking things that nobody else can see. And obviously glint tape and things like that work well. But some people again ask about the thermal. Well, there's devices like this called the Cody, which is a Cody, it's called Cody clip-on. Cody means clip-on thermal imaging. They didn't think very hard about that one. But this one will clip onto your night vision goggle. And now this gives an overlay. So you have a thermal overlay along with night vision under the same goggle, which is huge because now no one can hide from you. You can see heat signatures as well as night vision. This is the super setup. Like if you want a setup, this is it. Because essentially you own the night. No one can hide from you. This is a superpower. This is like you become Batman all of a sudden with this piece of equipment. You know, it's just incredible piece of gear. And it has a few different modes, like patrol mode. It gives outlines. You can do hot, white, whatever you want. Modes that's going to facilitate what you prefer or whatever the situation may dictate. That way it's not like hitting anything, but it shapes, you can see the shape of a human being. So you know that's a human. It's very incredible piece of kit. If you can afford it, if you can get it, they're very hard to get. But I definitely recommend that over having a thermal scope. That way I can move. This is real time. I'm moving. I can be walking, running, hiking, rucking, whatever, and patrolling, and I can see on the move thermal as well as night vision under the same set of goggles. All right, guys, hopefully this information helps you. I wanted to break down basically misconceptions people have about night vision and understand what is the budget constraints. Maybe you were thinking about getting night vision, you're like, oh dude, I got to buy a laser, I got to buy a helmet, I got to buy all this stuff, and I'm just not even want to get involved in it. I'm just going to use a white light, which is totally cool. I've got a video showing how to do that. I'll put at the end of this video. And you don't have to, night vision isn't a necessity. It is a major force multiplier though. Someone with night vision against people without night vision, huge multiplier. Then you add in a thermal clip-on top of that, and it's a complete game changer. But again, maybe this is something totally out of your realm, or maybe you now knowing this, you may not want to go for the PVS 14. Maybe you want to go for binos. Maybe you want to go for whatever it may be. Different types of lasers. You can get cheaper variations, or you can get the PEG. You can get even more expensive lasers. It's really dependent upon your budget, man. If you want to even get into this game, maybe you don't, maybe it's something totally impossible for you, but I wanted to at least spell it out and understand that there's different ways of doing it. Whatever it may be, guys, you got to get mounts. Wilcox makes the best, in my opinion, but you got to add all these things up when you're even thinking about getting into the night vision game. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helps. Remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Take care.